Welcome back to the Around the Diamond podcast with your host, Sam Edwards, episode 228, the podcast for the baseball nerd. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I greatly appreciate it. Top 10 list, baby. It's that time of year, end of January. This is when I start my top 10 lists at every single position. It's such a fun series to go through, and I'm so excited for this list today. Top 10 catchers, starting it off right. Starting off with arguably one of the toughest positions, mainly because you got to weigh the offense and the defense correctly. It's tough, man, but I'm so excited to get into it. There's so much to cover on this podcast. The offseason's finally turning up a little bit. A lot of one-year deals, but listen, bro, I'll take it. I will take it. A lot of teams getting some depth on their teams, which is fantastic. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic pod. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. If this is the first time you've listened to Around the Diamond, second time, third time, whatever it is, I really appreciate it. If you just take a moment, just spend, 2 seconds, write a 5-star review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It takes so fast and it helps me out so much. And I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for doing that if you have already. All right, let's get into it. The Brewers have signed Rhys Hoskins to a 2-year, $34 million deal. There was an opt-out after the first year. And then there was also a mutual option for a third year. This is a great addition for them. He's going to be playing first base majority of the time, which is not the best thing in the world. He was injured this entire past season, 2023, did not play at all, tore his ACL in spring training. But if he goes right back to his usual production, this looks like a pretty good deal for the Brewers. I'm very happy that they have not totally checked out of the offseason. Everybody was rumoring and interested, and Brewer fans were, I'm sure, scared if they were going to trade Corbin Burnes. They are not, as far as I can tell, not going to trade him, and they're finally investing in this team. They just won the division. Let me remind you and remind myself, they just won the division. They need to be making moves to improve their team, and Rhys Hoskins definitely does that. He hit in 2022 over 600 plate appearances, 30 homers, 10.7 walk percentage, only a 25.1 K percentage. I say only, it is high and it's above average, but it's not 30, it's not a 30 K percentage. He's kept it pretty steady and pretty consistent. A 216 isolated power. He hit 246, 332, 462 for 2022. He had a 122 runs created plus that year, good for a 2.3 WAR. He is not a star. He's not amazing. He crushes lefties and hits good enough versus righties. He's not amazing. He probably should be a DH. They're going to run him out at first base, most likely. But that will be very much an improvement over Rowdy Tellez, who played majority of the time at first base. Then they traded for Carlos Santana at the trade deadline. He performed very well for the second half. I kind of thought they were just going to run it back with Santana, but I guess not. We're running with Hoskins. I would be excited if they did decide to bring Carlos Santana back as well, and he played majority first base because his defense is much better than Hoskins is. Hoskins is not a first baseman. He should be a DH. I can say that assuredly. If he was just a DH, I think I'd be a little bit happier with this deal. If they signed Carlos Santana, I'd be even happier with this deal. Either way, I'm happy. I'm happy with this contract. He should be full go in spring training, which is encouraging to hear, especially after a lost year. So hopefully he'll be healthy. He's been very consistent throughout his career. You know exactly what you're getting, more than above average bat. And the Brewers need that, and that'll be an improvement for them. So that's great. Dodgers have signed James Paxton to a 1-year, $11 million deal. This past year with the Red Sox, he pitched 96 innings, a 4.50 ERA, 4.68 FIP. The ceiling's high for Paxton, but the floor is low. We know that. The Dodgers don't need him to be a stud, but I like this signing for them. I like taking a chance on Paxton, especially because it's a great depth move. They've got some guys that don't have the most innings projected. You don't know how much Yamamoto's going to pitch. You definitely don't know how much Glass now is going to pitch. Bobby Miller is still young. Walker Buehler is coming off a lost season. Emmett Sheehan is still a young guy as well. So there's a lot of uncertainty with this rotation, but the ceiling is incredible for this rotation. So obviously, I'm so excited to see how we end up. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I like that Paxton just plugs right in there. Yes, you would probably want somebody a little bit more consistent, but they also have a lot of guys and a lot of options. When you got a lot of options, might as well go for the ceiling guys. Might as well go for the guys that could pitch really, really well. And Paxton can pitch well sometimes, not all the time. There was definitely moments with the Red Sox that I was very excited, and he was pounding that fastball inside, and it just felt really, really good. It wasn't like that all season, obviously. 4.50 ERA, 24.6 K percentage though, 8 walk percentage. So yeah, it's I like the signing for the Dodgers. Very low risk, high reward. If he doesn't end up, great, or he just ends up injured, whatever. It's the Dodgers. They can do whatever. Moving on. Pirates. Let's get into the relievers, bro. There's a lot of relievers, a lot of good relievers that just signed. Pirates just signed Aroldis Chapman to a 1-year, $10.5 million deal. He pitched 58 and a third innings pitched this past season, a 41.4 K percentage, absolutely insane. 14.5 walk percentage, also almost equally insane. A 3.09 ERA and a 2.52 FIP. Their bullpen's looking like David Bednar at the top. Then you got Chapman. Then you got Colin Holderman, Carmen Laziniski, and then Ryan Baruki, who actually turned in an amazing year. Baruki, really crazy good year for him. It was kind of weird. But yeah, so Chapman kind of joins Baruki as the two lefties in that bullpen. It should be a good enough bullpen. I don't like Chapman as a person. I think he should not be in the league, but on the baseball side of things, I think this will be a good signing for the Pirates. We saw a team last year in the Royals sign him and then trade him for a great return in Cole Reagan. So yeah, if you're the Pirates, it absolutely sign this deal. Angels have signed Matt Moore to a 1-year, $9 million deal. He had a fantastic season this past year, 52 and 2/3 innings pitched, 27.5 K percentage, only a 6.9 walk percentage, 2.56 ERA, 3.73 FIP. Very good season. And the Angels, I mean, listen, as much as I give them crap, they have added a lot to this bullpen, which is great. It really needed it. They've still got Estevez at the top of the bullpen, probably closing. Or Robert Stevenson, who they also signed. He could close as well. I could see Stevenson stealing that closer role. Then now you got Matt Moore, you got Jose Siriano, and you've got Luis Garcia, Adam Simber. You've got enough guys now and enough ceiling as well that they should be good enough. So encouraging for the Angels. Are they going to do anything? Probably not. They would need a lot of things to go right. It would be funny though, It'd be very funny if they all of a sudden were in playoff contention without Ohtani. That would actually be pretty funny. Their division mates, the Rangers, have also signed a reliever, David Robertson, 1-year, $11.5 million deal. He pitched 65 and a third innings pitched this past year, a 29 K percentage, 9.3 walk percentage, 3.03 ERA, 3.55 FIP. Their bullpen right now projects with Leclerc at the top of the bullpen. I keep wanting to say rotation. Dude, what is with me? Gosh. Anyway, sorry. You got Leclerc at the top. You get David Robertson next. You've got Boers next, Josh Boers. You got Kirby Yates, who they signed. You got Jonathan Hernandez as well. Not a bad bullpen right now. I kind of like it for the Rangers. They're probably going to need a little bit more depth, especially because their rotation is always going to be a little nail-bitey, we'll say. But, it's not bad. It's not bad. That's what I would say. Mets have signed Adam Ottavino, 1-year, $4.5 million, 61 and 2/3 innings pitched for him this past year, 3.21 ERA, but a 4.52 FIP. I actually really like this deal for him. I really believe in Adam Ottavino and his ability to turn himself around. I think he's especially smart pitcher. And I think he's going to be okay. I think the walk issues are tough. It's 11.1 walk percentage. which is a little tough. 56 ground ball percentage, though, which is encouraging. And I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be fine. Maybe not fine. It's still 3.21 ERA, which is encouraging, but a 4.52 FIP, that's not going to fly. We've seen him blow up before in past seasons, and we've seen him turn it around. I think he's going to be okay. I like this signing. Very low risk for the Mets, and he's a good guy. So, yeah, bring back David Robertson. Cubs have signed Hector Neris to a 1-year, $9 million deal. He pitched 68 and a third innings pitched this past season, 28 K percentage, 11.4 walk percentage. So that's higher than Adam Ottavino, just to let everybody know who's keeping track at home. He had a 1.71 ERA this past season and a 3.83 FIP. I also think he's going to regress. I say also. I think he's going to regress to a certain extent. I think the K percentage keeps him from doing that as of right now. It's 28.2 K percentage. Neris had a fantastic season. I really like this signing for the Cubs, and I think this fits their MO absolutely perfectly. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. Let's flip these pages here. All right, let's get into the outfielders. There's a couple good outfielders that just got gobbled up by some teams. Diamondbacks, who have done quite a bit this offseason so far, spent quite a bit of money, signed Joc Pederson. He's no longer an outfielder, really. He can spotlight in left field a little bit, but he's majority a DH now. So 1 year, $12.5 million deal for him. 425 plate appearances, 15 home runs, 13.4 walk percentage. Very nice there. He hit 235, 348, 416. Good for a 111 runs created plus. This is fine. If I'm the D-backs, I probably would have gone for Jorge Soler. If I'm any team, I would have gone for Jorge Soler because I believe in him so much. I know he's asking for more money than Joc Pederson is, but, if you're the D-backs, might as well, bro. Like, you're going for it, right? Like, you want to challenge the Dodgers. You just went to the freaking World Series. You got hot at the right time. You got beat by... you beat probably a better Phillies team than you, but whatever. You got there, so you got something. You got something clearly. So I would have liked a better option, but Joc Pederson's good enough. He's a lefty power bat. He's gonna walk a little bit. 13.4 walk percentage. That's not bad. And he doesn't have to play the field, so that's fine. Just throw him at DH. He's gonna do well enough. It's a fine signing. I'm pretty fine with this. Nationals signed Joey Gallo, 1 year, $5 million. Joey Gallo, man, he is fully gone Joey Gallo mode. My goodness. 332 plate appearances this past year, 21 home runs, 14.5 walk percentage, a 42.8 K percentage. Absolutely crazy. He hit 177, 301, 440 for the slugging percentage. All good for a 104 runs created plus, slightly above average. Can still play the field, though. Unlike Joc, you can still throw him out in left field, and he's going to do fine. He's going to do well enough. I trust him out in left field. So I like this deal for the Nationals. Low risk, high reward. It's Joey Gallo. Might as well, Maybe he can get back to slugging 30 bombs. He's going to have a terrible average anyways. Don't look at the average. Look at the on-base. Look at the slugging. He's going to be okay. He is getting older, though, so this could be near the end of the road for him before he moves on to the KBO to hit 60 homers a year. But maybe the time isn't there yet. We'll see. That K percentage is crazy and unsustainable. You need to make contact to hit a home run. And when you're striking out 42.8% of the time, that's basically 43% of the time if you're rounding up. It is a nerd podcast after all. 43K percentage. That's those homers ain't gonna fly. That K percentage ain't gonna fly, bro. But $5 million, 1 year, Nationals, easy money. Take it, bro. Take it. Hit some bombs. I love it. Angels sign Aaron Hicks. Started the season with the New York Yankees, had 76 plate appearances. He hit 188, 263, 261 for the slugging percentage. If you're keeping track at home, that's good for a 49 runs created plus. Terrible. Then they get rid of him. The Orioles go, we'll take some of that. Whatever you want. Come on over, Aaron. 236 plate appearances later, 7 home runs, a 14.8 walk percentage, only a 20.8 K percentage. He hit 275, 381, 425. Whew, I was about to say 475. It's not that good. The power's not that good. But a 425 slugging, fine. Good for a 129 run square plus, 1.5 WAR. If I'm the Angels, sure, why not? Throw him out in left field, see what he can do. He's not going to be healthy, and he's not going to hit this well again. He's going to be fine, and you'll take it, you know? Might as well. Might as well go after Aaron Hicks. It works. Whatever, man. That's my last deal. Holy crap. Let's get into the list, baby. Top 10 catchers right now. What a weird list. At first, it was really, really hard. And then it progressively got easier and easier, as all lists do. It's a very weird list, as in it's so different. It's so different from the past couple years. It feels like there's been this big change in the changing of the guard, I guess you could say. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but it's weird. It's just a weird year, man. Really weird year for catchers. I mean, if you've heard these top 10 lists before, you know how I grade these guys. But either way, Baseball Savant has a lot of new catching stats, which is fantastic. You got your overall fielding run value overall, which is fantastic. Great thing to rely on for catchers because the defense is so hard to quantify. They've got blocking above average, how good you are blocking the ball. You've got caught stealing above average, how good are you at throwing guys out. And then you've also got framing. How good are you at stealing the strikes that you need to steal, and then also getting the strikes that you're supposed to get. And there's some guys that are very clear above the pack here. I think the top 5 guys is a very clear names, and then everybody else is a little up in the air. So, without further ado, my number 10 best catcher of the year is Yainer Diaz on the Houston Astros. This was his debut season. He had 377 plate appearances, 23 home runs. He had a 256 isolated power. He hit 282, 308, 538. Doesn't walk at all, 2.9 walk percentage. It's all good for a 127 runs created plus, a 354 WOBA, and a 2.0 WAR, F-WAR on the season at catcher. He just missed the marker for what qualifies you for Baseball Savant's defensive stats. So we don't know fully how good he is as a defenseman quite yet. But I've heard good things. Fangraphs has some good things to say. And not per framing wise, he doesn't look great framing, but overall defensively and catching stealers, he looks decent. So he's finally going to get the reins to the full-time starter spot in Houston. It's going to be fantastic. And I think the hitting is very much legit. Looking at the minors, the power has definitely been there. And I'm really excited to see what Yainer can do on the full season. He's my number 10, steals that spot from a couple other guys. For these top 10 lists, I'm going to do the bottom 5 first. I'm going to do a couple just misses, and then I'm going to do one guy. This is an idea that my roommate, Evan, had. I'm going to do one guy that I think is going to definitely be on the list next year. So that's the plan. That's the plan for most of these top 10 lists. I also hope to have guests on for these other pods. And that just depends on how good I am at booking guests. For this pod, this is a solo pod. This is kind of me getting my feet wet with these top 10 lists again. It was great to do the research. I always put so much more time, I feel like, into the pods doing these. But either way, Yainer Diaz steals the number 10 spot. Moving on, my number 9 best catcher right now is JT Realmuto. Man, I had to drop this dude a lot from last year. Oh my goodness, I was almost gonna miss him. He was almost gonna miss my list, bro. My lists aren't perfect, okay? I'm not perfect. But JT Realmuto definitely isn't either, because my goodness, did he take a dive. This past year, 540 plate appearances. You got to give him respect. He plays all the time. 20 home runs, 16 stolen bases. We're looking pretty decent right now. We're feeling like JT Realmuto. 307 BABIP, pretty standard for him. He hit 252, 340, 452. Not a bad slash line, but only a 102 runs created plus, 1.5 WAR. He was -9 fielding run value, which is the 5th percentile, bottom 5% defensively overall. And where does it come from? It comes from his framing. Okay. Framing is -13. -13 framing runs. That's crazy low. Bottom 1% of the league, bottom 3%, I believe, in the league. Terrible at framing. He's really good at blocking. He's good at caught stealing. He's just missing the framing, okay? And the framing is extremely important in the baseball game. I still think he's good enough defensively that he can get by. And this is also definitely by far the worst we've ever seen him at framing. So I think he could easily rebound from this season. That still means that he's in the top 10, but it just means that he drops really low. I could see people giving him more credit than he deserves right now. I try to look at the past 2 years to provide some consistency here, and Realmuto was extremely consistent, and just not this year, man. Just a really, really tough year. 1.5 WAR on the season, over 500 plate appearances. That's really tough, and I just couldn't put him any higher. I think the guys above him are definitely more worthy right now, and definitely going forward as well. Right now, he's my number 9 catcher. Moving on to number 8 is the young kid, the newcomer, Francisco Alvarez on the New York Mets. The rookie slashed 209, 284, 437 on the season. 97 runs created plus, 3% below average. This is the key point where you see that I value defense a lot when making these lists. Yainer Diaz is a much better hitter than Francisco Alvarez is. But 25 home runs, 8 walk percentage, only a 26 K percentage, which was definitely a difference maker for a couple other guys that could have snuck onto the list a little bit. And the fielding is very good. He got 7 fielding runs above average. His fielding value overall, which is 87th in the league, which is fantastic. And he is 43rd in blocking, pretty average blocker. He's a little bit below average in caught stealing. I say a little bit. He's 16th out of 100, 16th percentile in caught stealing. But the framing is absolutely fantastic. He's 95th percentile in framing runs above average. That gets you there, man. That gets you. Welcome to the top 10, Francisco Alvarez. People thought his bat was going to be amazing. It wasn't. He still hit 25 bombs. Sorry, not 45. 25 bombs on the season and hit well enough. I think the BABIP has a lot to say about how bad his slash line feels. A 222 BABIP, I think that's definitely going to rise. He only hit 209, 284 at 437. The moment that BABIP hits 250, bro, he's going to look much better, and that slugging is also going to come up a decent amount as well. He's going to slug about 480 is my guess this coming season, which means at least 30 bombs. He's going to be good, bro. He's going to be good, and also with this amazing framing overall, he's good. He's a good catcher, and I think he definitely makes it out of my top 10. I could see if people have him lower, if he feels he's too young, hasn't proven himself yet. I could see all those excuses, but I think he deserves a spot. And I think he's just going to rise. I think he's just going to keep going. My number 7 is a veteran. It's another veteran. Wilson Contreras on the Cardinals. They tried to scapegoat him. It didn't work. They tried to shove him in the outfield, saying that he was the problem for their pitching. No, siree, Bob. He is pretty not great defensively. He is 30th overall in fielding run value. He is 31st percentile in blocking. He is very good at caught stealing, though. 85th percentile in caught stealing. but very bad in framing as well. 13th percentile in framing, not great. He is a fantastic hitter, though. A 127 runs created plus, 358 WOBA, 375 xWOBA. So he could even get better as a hitter. We've seen him be better before in 2022 when he had a 132 runs created plus. This past season, though, 2.4 WAR, not amazing, but still good enough on this list. And he slashed 264, 358, 467, 20 home runs, over 10% walk percentage, 22.4 K percentage, 203 isolated power. We've seen him do above this. We've seen the ceiling for him. We've seen him be like passable on defense. So I definitely think there is a ceiling there that he could definitely hit. And the hitting is still very, very good. So Wilson gets there for me. He's been doing it. He's been doing it consistently as well. I like Wilson a lot. I could easily see somebody else rising him up a little bit on this list, but Jess makes it 7th on my list. My number 6 top 10 catcher is Jonah Heim on the Texas Rangers. World Series champs, Texas Rangers. My goodness. Fantastic defensively. He is top tier defensively and consistently has been so, and he put it all together this season. 4.1 WAR overall. He is 98th percentile in fielding runs value. He is 94th percentile in caught stealing and 97th percentile in framing. He's absolutely fantastic in the field. 103 runs created plus this season. He hit 258, 317, 438, 18 home runs, over 500 plate appearances. He's a good enough batter to make his defense look all the better. We're so used to these veteran backups that are coming in that are amazing defensively but terrible at hitting. Well, Jonah Heim put it together this season, and the season prior, 96 runs created plus, not bad at all. And it looks like he's just getting better as a hitter. 18 home runs as well. Power's nothing to sneeze at. He's a little bit of a danger. And do I think he's an amazing hitter? No. 3% above the average hitter. But the defense is absolutely insane. And if I am getting a catcher, I want the defense to be insane over the bat. I know batting is more valuable overall. I don't care. I want Jonah Heim. Give me Jonah Heim on my team. Number 6, man. Number 6th on my team. Absolutely. All right. Before we hit the top 5, just misses, and somebody that's definitely going to be on the list next year. I'm going to go with Bo Naylor on the Guardians as my definitely going to be on the list next year. I think the bat has shown a lot. 124 runs created plus this past season, and the defense has shown to be good enough. He's 63rd overall in fielding run value and 67th overall in framing. Pretty good defensively. 11 home runs, 5 stolen bases, only 230 plate appearances. He hit very well. You could easily see him being on the list next year. He's going to be there. Book it. Hi, Sam, listening to this in the future. What's up? Yeah, that's right. Came back. I'm going to review this next year. Maybe, hopefully. A couple just misses as well. Ryan Jeffers had an amazing batting season. He's just not good enough defensively. He's really bad defensively on all fronts, which sucks because he had a 138 runs created plus. He's probably more of a DH. Just DH him at this point. He's not good enough. Jake Rogers, young guy on the Tigers, decent defensively. Okay, slightly below average batting wise. 21 home runs though. Too high of a K percentage. Good isolated power. Bad slash line. He's kind of like, just a not as good version of Francisco Alvarez. That's what I would say. I think there's definitely a possibility with Rogers, but he needs to lower that K percentage. That's what I would say. Those are my honorable mentions. Once again, Bo Naylor. He's going to be on the list next year. Put it on the board. He'll be on my list no matter what because I have to make myself look good. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but either way, that's what I'm doing. Number 5, top 5 catchers is Will Smith with the Dodgers. This past season had a very good season, 4.4 WAR, 119 runs created plus. Very good hitter, not very good defensively. 19 home runs, over 500 plate appearances, 11.4 walk percentage, only a 16.1 K percentage. The power took a little bit of a dip this year, 177 isolated power compared to the 205 he was rocking in 2022. Slash line is 261, 359, 438. He upped the walk percentage, lowered the power output, but still a fantastic hitter, 345 WOBA. And like I said, not very good defensively. 29th percentile fielding runs. Very good blocking wise, 75th percentile in blocking. Not good in called strike percentage. Sorry, caught stealing. 45th percentile in caught stealing. And then 28th in framing. So he's consistently been meh/mid defensively. If he was top tier, then he would definitely climb up that top 5 much quicker. But because of the defense, I had to hold him back. He has been so consistent. Fantasy-wise, he's definitely one of the top catchers out there because of how consistent he is with the bat. And yeah, Will Smith is very good. Maybe underrated, you could argue. But defensively, just leaves a lot to be desired. And like I said, I need a good defenseman. He's kind of the opposite of Jonah Heim. Very good hitter, not great defensively. Jonah Heim is a defensive god. So, yeah, had to go Will Smith a little bit above just because of the value that he brings overall as a player. I mean, 4.4 WAR is absolutely fantastic. Number 4 is a guy that I could see being a little bit higher on other people's lists. Not on mine. It's another defense problem. But anyways, is William Contreras. We already talked about Wilson. Now we got to talk about William. On the Milwaukee Brewers, what an addition he was in that trade. That steal of a trade for the Brewers. Absolutely fantastic dealing from David Stearns at the time. William Contreras put it all together this season. 611 plate appearances, so very good sample size. A 124 runs created plus, 357 WOBA. He hit 289, 367, 452. Good for a 5.4 WAR season. Finally turned up the defense as well. He was 92nd percentile in fielding run value overall, fielding overall, blocking above average, 90th percentile. Caught stealing was below average, -1, which comes out to 35th percentile. But the framing was very, very good, 93rd percentile in framing. And yeah, the reason he is not any higher than 4th for me is because this is the first time we've seen the defense do something like this. And everybody in my top 3 have shown consistently to be extremely good defensively. Extremely good to best at the position, I would say. And William Contreras hasn't shown that consistently. He has shown the bat to be consistent. But this is his first full season. We saw the bat stay consistent all the way through, and we saw the defense finally come through. But I gotta see it again for the defense. Defense is such shaky ground to stand on when it comes to the stats. Baseball Savant is definitely making it easier, and I think just smarter analysis in general. But William Contreras, only saw it 1 year, man. I gotta see a little bit more. We'll see what you can do. Okay. Still an amazing season. Put it all together. 5.4 WAR. I just got to see the defense stay, and I believe in the bat. So next year, I could see him rising if he keeps it going, or we see the defense dip a little bit. That's also possible. Or he gets injured. That could also happen. Another reason why he's lower, we saw the power dip a little bit this season over a full year. Only a 169 isolated power, a 348 BABIP. So I think his overall stats are a little inflated overall, but yeah. So we saw the power dip a little bit. 611 plate appearances and only 17 home runs. I know the Brewers Park is definitely a pitcher's park in general, but yeah, I would like to see a little bit more power in that respect. But either way, 4th, still very high on my list. Still a fantastic season for him. Congratulations, William Contreras. You get fourth in my book. And yeah, good for him. My number 3 is a guy I did not expect to be this high. I didn't expect it. I like him, but I didn't expect it. Didn't expect him to be this high. Is Cal Raleigh from the Seattle Mariners. 30 bombs this past year. He lowered the K percentage by 2%. That's always the fear with him is the Ks. Are they going to be too out of control that the power can't play? That is not the case. He solidified himself on my list. Hitting overall definitely did get slightly worse for him. 232, 306, 456 overall for the slash line. But he just played so amazing overall. 4.7 WAR, 85th percentile overall for fielding. He is only 10th. He's the 10th percentile for blocking, so not very good blocking runs and such. So don't spike that curveball too much because he can't block it. But caught stealing, he's top tier, 87th percentile, and framing, very, very good, 82nd percentile. Very good defensively, decent hitter, good for 30 bombs a year. And yeah, I think he's really kind of solidifying himself in my brain as at least a top 5 catcher overall. And that's so exciting. That's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic for the Seattle Mariners. I like Raleigh. I think he's underrated, honestly. For being top 3 catcher overall, he's underrated, man. Definitely underrated. Number 2 is a guy that I don't think is underrated. At least he shouldn't be. It's Sean Murphy. That's right. On the Braves, Sean Murphy, man. What an amazing player. He is the best defensive catcher, I think. Him and Jonah Heim definitely would have to duke it out a little bit. I think he's better than Jonah Heim. I think he's the best catcher right now. Best defensive catcher, I should say. Number 2, okay? The hitting's good. It was so tough, man. It was so tough. It was so tough to decide between 1 and 2, honestly. And I think that's why I got such a slow start on this list. It just was really tough looking at all the stats. It was like, how do I decide? How do I decide? And I'm putting Sean Murphy here because I don't think the hitting's quite as good as the number 1. But I think he's the best defensive catcher out there. 98th percentile fielding runs overall. He's 100th percentile in blocking. So in that respect, he takes out Jonah Heim and Cal Raleigh. 84th percentile in caught stealing and 92nd percentile in framing. Absolutely top tier. He also had a 129 runs created plus this past season, 4.2 WAR. He hit 251, 365, 478 on the season, 366 WOBA, 395 xWOBA, 21 home runs, 11.2 walk percentage. Fantastic across the board. Another thing that held me back a little bit was the 438 plate appearances this past season. A big importance for me as a catcher is proving that you can play a full season. And I would say over 400 plate appearances is great from any catcher. But the guy who gets number 1 for me had 687 plate appearances. And you'll notice, because I haven't said his name, he is top tier. He is my number 1 catcher overall, Adley Rutschman. I would say breakout year. I don't know if it is a breakout year because his 2022 was also really, really good. He just didn't play as much. 470 plate appearances that year, but he's back. He's here for full swing. 687 plate appearances for him. 20 home runs. Had a 13.4 walk percentage. Only a 14.7 K percentage. He hit 277, 374, 435 on the season. 352 WOBA, 373 xWOBA, 127 runs created plus, 5.4 WAR on the season. Very, very good. Consistently has shown himself to be very good defensively. 84th percentile in fielding run value. He is 83rd percentile in blocking and 63rd in caught stealing and 84th in framing. He is so good. I could see somebody putting Sean Murphy above him. It's very close for me. I just gave Adley the push here. That the playing time is just crazy, man. He played so well and so long to show that consistently across the board with his ratios, with everything batting wise and defensive wise. He was so good, and I'm putting him number 1. Really, really tough decision, and I totally understand if anybody else puts Sean Murphy over him. I totally get it. I just think the full sample size we saw with Adley this past year deserves number one for him. He's absolutely an amazing player, and when people are telling or saying that he should be, the cover for MLB The Show, he's hit that star status, man. He is in everybody's brains, and he should be because he is the number one catcher in the major leagues right now. Whew. First top 10 list in the books. We got so many to come, and I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun going position by position. I'm going to be learning so much through this as well. This is basically a selfish series for me. I really enjoy doing this, but it's also really hard doing this, especially comparing your list to others. I want to see your lists. I'm going to make a little graphic sometime this week. Putting up my list. I'll do that at the end of the week so everybody has time to listen to this, but I'll put up a graphic. Go check it out on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, and then show me your list. I want to see what you got. You got Sean Murphy above him? You got Sean Murphy above Rutschman? Maybe. Not hating. Do you have Bo Naylor on your list this year? I can see people having Bo Naylor, bro. He had an amazing season. Where's Yainer Diaz? What do you think, man? He's young, but he hit really, really well this season, and he's got a strong track record throughout the minors. I think he's just going to continue to mash. We'll see how good the defense is. Great list, great pod. I love it. I love these lists. Let me review real quick. Number 1, Adley Rutschman. Number 2, Sean Murphy. Number 3, Cal Raleigh. Number 4 is William Contreras. Number 5 is Will Smith. Number 6 is Jonah Heim. Number 7 is Wilson Contreras. Number 8 is Francisco Alvarez. Number 9 is the fallen man, JT Realmuto. We'll see if he can regain his kingdom, return, be the king we all want him to be on the Phillies. Number 10 is Yainer Diaz, the young gun, the guy who just snuck into the list, just barely. Shout out to him. He's going to rise up the list. And shout out to Bo Naylor, my prediction to be on the list next year. I guarantee it. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Thank you so much for leaving a review as well. I so appreciate it. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for listening. I'll hopefully be back next week covering the top 10 first basemen. Be here or don't, I guess. I don't know. Thank you so much for listening, guys.